Hello everyone, today we will talk about the transit of the Sun. The transiting Sun is in quincunx with natal Uranus. How the transiting Sun behaves in quincunx with natal Uranus depends on the position of natal Uranus. This transit may be more prominent in your life if you already have planets in aspect to your natal Uranus. But the basics are as follows. Transiting Sun in quincunx to natal Uranus will give you a longing for something new or exciting. In most cases, there will be a minor reorganization, accident, or deviation from your daily routine. Such an outburst will require you to keep on your toes, or simply feel restless and create confusion within yourself. All this will trigger your unusual nature that will find new information or take a new path that involves a sudden change in attitude, identity, or way of thinking. Given the incompatibility of the planets and the difficulty of realizing the transit, it is impossible for this change and exciting opportunity to be positive. It is also very likely that you will be much less lenient, obedient, and patient with arbitrary rules, and you will probably feel compelled to show how and in what way you stand out from the crowd. This sudden pressure to make changes will be directed at most of the people you are surrounded by, society or friends, and in some cases, it will be the result of an unexpected event. If you quickly take on a new group identity, such as an activist one, or embrace some new way of expressing yourself, look if you can to break your usual patterns in small ways, such as less formal clothing or to show that new eccentricity through a hobby. Although this transit expands the mind and gives imaginative ability, the insight into a greater awareness of making things happen will exhaust you, especially if you go to extremes trying to impress others. However, once you dive into the transformation process, you'll likely find that you have to adapt to your new self in ways you didn't quite expect. In any case, things are quite devastating now because you are subject to sudden upsets that will also upset others, and imagining and talking about a better future, as well as waiting for changes, will surely bring more insecurity, uncertainty, and fear than stability. As we have already stated, due to the incompatibility of the planets during this transit, you will become more erratic and unpredictable. Likewise, you won't feel completely comfortable with a group affiliation that offends your need for individuality, or you'll wonder what's the best way to express your creative talents as part of a group. But even if you don't follow your routine, experiencing instability, irritability, or a crisis of indecision is just part of the transit. You don't have a conscious plan to change, and you don't like the status quo either, so it takes a bit of experimentation to get a feel for your role in the group or cause. Connecting with a group is difficult, due to ego conflicts. The same thing will apply to desires and goals, therefore, it is necessary to limit yourself to one goal, and such a decision will make it easier for you to approach the goal. There is no strategy for such radical moves. Feeling pressured to push yourself into a new position is the only solution. Individuals will discover behaviors in themselves that they never knew existed. As in, experiencing various extreme philosophies before arriving at a foundation that authentically works for you. However, even though you are reluctant to accept changes that are beyond your control, you will discover new strengths to develop your potential. Enhanced creativity, originality, ingenuity, flexibility, and openness are ideal for experimentation, adaptation, change and adjustment. Don't expect that you will be able to do it all with discipline and patience and stand up to the everyday network. But still, warm up to the very idea of change first, and when you're cornered and have no other options, you'll discover how beneficial these changes can be. Doing something a little different will yield better results than trying to make radical changes, when you let your guard down and incorporate a change or a new opportunity, you will be surprised how innovation improves your life. Being too bold, impulsive, unpredictable, or rebellious can mean you have to start over and the changes will be hard to undo later. Gaining a new perspective and awakening your strengths will motivate you to overcome limitations. But if you stubbornly resist change or become arrogant or disruptive, you will miss a significant opportunity or damage your position and prospects. The transiting Sun in quincunx to Uranus makes it difficult to avoid changes on the horizon. You can no longer deny the ubiquity of new technology or paradigm shifts. You will be challenged to push yourself outside your comfort zone and to question your independence and freedom.